Hey, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, the spin-off Crazy Diamond's Demonic Heartbreak, Chapter 8. Now, this chapter came out a few days late, actually. Normally, chapters, well, for the main series and this spin-off, come out sometime between the 16th and the 18th. But, it's the 24th today, as of recording this, at least. And it just came out. I don't know if that's, like the translators, because obviously this is unofficial translations, or if it's the, or if Ultra Jump was just delayed this month, I don't know. But anyways, getting into the chapter, we start off with Ryohei, Josuke's grandpa, who died in the first arc of Part 4, actually, explaining to them, like, the situation, just filling everyone in on what's going on. And it's really nice to see more of him, because obviously we barely saw any of him in Part 4. He died in the first fight. Yeah, it's not really like a whole ton of new information about him. This is nice to see him actually doing things, because, again, we barely saw any of him in the original Part 4. And his design, like, obviously it's a different artist, so all the character designs are very different, but his design is very different. I mean, his chin is like half his face, so it's definitely an interesting change. But anyways, we then see him discussing the Oingo Boingo book with Boingo. and he's encouraging him to go look for it himself. And he ends up agreeing. He seems pretty hesitant though, so I don't know if he's just saying that or whatever. But then we go back to Josuke and Whole Horse talking about the book. But Josuke then recognizes it from, what was her name again? Ryoko, yeah. Sorry, I forgot that name for a second. Kakyoin's cousin, which I think is very interesting that they even have Kakyoin have a cousin in the first place, because that changes his backstory up quite a bit. I mean, we didn't know much about his backstory, so I guess it's not that shocking, but it's pretty interesting, although I do have a theory about the canon status of this series, but I'll get to that when we get to that. Anyways, so we already knew what happened, but we see that Ryoko is remembering, like, what happened to Kakyoin. She was there when Kakyoin got controlled by Dio, and obviously she didn't know what was going on. But yeah, this looks pretty similar to Avdal's scene, except obviously Avdal escaped. So it seems like, yeah, this doesn't really, like, this isn't a ton of new information. We could already infer that this is, obviously outside of Ryoko being there, we could already infer that this is what happened from Part 3 anyways, but it is nice to see it. Again, like a lot of things in this manga. It's obviously being like a mid-quel, I guess you'd call it. You can't really, you do kind of have to re-show a lot of events, but obviously it's nice to see them. And she is talking about how she needs to see that, what happened to him, really. And this is where my thoughts about the canon status of this arc come from, or this spin-off. Because Josuke mentions Dio here, which is very interesting, because in Part 4, he didn't know who Dio was. Like, as far as I'm remembering, Jotaro brought it up, or actually, like, if it wasn't brought up in Part 4 at all, I could see it, but, like, up until now, I've thought that this is canon, because obviously if it wasn't canon, I don't know why they'd go out of their way to clearly establish it as being canon, like with Whole Horse and their situation and stuff. Like, if the author didn't want to make it canon, then I was assuming he would just go crazy with stuff in the first chapter. But how I assumed it was going to play out is that, like, Whole Horse would be the one to talk to Ryoko about it, because obviously Josuke, even hearing the name of Dio, unless they have some crazy, like memory erasing ability, which I don't think they're gonna do here. I think that Josuke even knowing about Dio kind of causes a lot of plot holes in Part 4, if this is canon. Because in Part 4, Jotaro mentions Dio quite a bit, and just, like, I'm pretty sure Jotaro would know about what's going on here, just because of the Speedwagon Foundation and like I don't know how far their reach is. So yeah, I'm starting to think this is non-canon. It could still if this is the only instance of a plot hole we get, I might still consider it canon. But if it goes further beyond this, yeah, then I'm definitely saying this is non-canon. Which again is something I really don't like about. Really seems like anime and manga in particular have a bad habit with this of being like, just not telling you if it's canon or not, and just leaving it up to the fans. Like obviously we still have that with all the Jojo light novels. Like most of those could technically be canon, but we're not sure. Purple Haze Feedback especially, and it's even worse with other series like One Piece. Obviously, see with the movies, it's like the movies are partially canon now, but they don't tell you which parts are canon. It's a complete mess. But obviously that's getting off track. So anyways, going back to the events of this arc, we see the guy that this is the guy that Josuke caught in the previous chapter, I'm pretty sure. And we see a flashback to him in the car. I'm pretty sure this is right after Josuke beat him. And we see this character, I'm assuming this is the main villain, because I don't think they're gonna keep this spin-off going on for like another year or anything to where they'd introduce a third villain, but his name is Kazuki Kuraya. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, but whatever. We don't know much about him, but he does definitely seem like a JoJo villain, just, you know, he acts very odd. Like, if you told me this was written by Araki, I would totally believe it. This is definitely the kind of villain he'd write, especially, back then. This definitely seems like a villain from, like, Part 3, early Part 4, where they're just really out there. And then, yes, this guy who just got caught in police, he asked him a question about, what did he ask him about again? Oh yeah, he didn't ask him anything, really. And, he just asked who he is, but that makes him really upset, and he uses, this bird's ability on him, and it makes him go crazy, and that's just where the chapter ends. Which I think that's a really good hook for the next chapter. If it ended right after, we saw Kakyoin's, backstory in full, I think this would still probably be one of the better chapters of this spin-off, but yeah, with this happening, this definitely makes it the best chapter of the series so far, and I'm super excited to see where it goes, even if it is completely non-canon. Anyways, that's it for now. I'll definitely review the next chapter when it comes out next month, and bye. If you liked the video, make sure to comment, subscribe, and like. Alright, bye.